Clemens calling on faith, and his team is still alive as we send you west to the final, the Western Semi, and here's Brian.
Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon from Winnipeg. Halftime of this game. We'll have a full report from Toronto right now. We're set for the Blue Bombers and the BC Lions, Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby. Chris?
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everybody. The Toronto Argonauts have advanced to play Montreal in the Eastern Final. The Edmonton Eskimos await the winner of Winnipeg and BC in this Western semifinal. Carl Kidd and Willie Hurst have dropped deep to accept the kickoff. There's Adam Rita, his first postseason game as a head coach since he won the Grey Cup here at Winnipeg Stadium in 1991 with the Toronto Argonauts. Dave Ritchie's team rolls into this postseason with 5 consecutive wins.
That'll be interesting. I think it's really good to get Willie Hurst back in this lineup. Carl Kidd back there. Willie Hurst, obviously the longest kickoff return this year in the CFL against Edmonton.
And this Western Semi underway. Carl Kidd, little trouble with the footing, and then turns it up to the 28-yard line. Let's check Chris Walby's Canadian Tire game notes.
Well, if I'm BC on offense, I want to get the wideouts involved early. Go after Coleman. He hasn't practiced all week. And remember Ricky Bell, a little aggressive back there. He'll take the penalties. Defense, stuff the run, force the pass. Milsteagle's not in the lineup. You got to stop Sellers and Roberts. For Winnipeg, that's them right there. Thunder and Lightning, Sellers and Roberts. Get them involved early and often. And on defense, you've got to keep Damon Allen in the pocket. He'd love to get outside and put you in the bind.
Damon Allen starts his 20th playoff game, quarterbacking the Lions and handing it off. And big-time contact by the defensive tackle, Doug Brown. Top Canadian on the Bombers as he nails Willie Hurst, who comes off the 9-game DL. But the intriguing story here is Damon Allen, who left twice during the warm-up to go back to the dressing room. He's not 100%.
Well, you know what, Chris? He started up, he tried to throw a couple balls, he went into the locker room, the team doctor followed him, he came out, he threw some more balls, went back into the locker room. As a matter of fact, he has not run any offense until the actual game. Ricky Foggy took all the pregame reps.
A rib cage muscle problem aggravated this week. Allen throwing. Ryan Thelwell, the intended receiver. The ball falls incomplete. And a 2-and-out provided by the Winnipeg defense, the top-ranked defense in the CFL.
A nice job of Harold Nash just staying there. A little trip up at the end. No flag, no foul. Ryan Thelwell, they talked about getting these guys involved early. Just a little inside-out move. Gets to the corner, gets his foot caught up on the front part of Harold Nash's shoes. And as a result, Tony Martino enters the game to punt for the BC Lions.
Former Calgary Stampeder and Arlen Bruce, who will be a big factor today in the absence of Milt Stegall, will also start the game as a punt returner for the Blue Bombers. Marvin Coleman had handled those duties last week. Big rush, but Martino gets it away. Arlen Bruce at his own 40, and a nice spin move by the former tailback, who will be the prime receiver for Kahari Jones today, and a 9-yard return by Arlen Bruce. Kahari Jones led the Canadian Football League in completions, passing yards, and touchdowns with 46. But Chris, can they operate a successful offense without Milt Stegall?
Well, I think everybody's just got to step up their game. I mean, Jamie Stoddard's going to get the opportunity to play in the slot back position. Marcus Howell, he's got to start raising his game as well.
Lions surrendered the second least points on defense this year. And Charles Roberts is 7 up the middle against those all-star linebackers of BC.
Well, I love the little confrontation, the verbal jousting that's been going on all week. Take a look at Kahari Jones, Mike Sellers. There's Lightning, Charles Roberts, who just carried the ball the last play. The receiving corps, Chad Plummer, Bruce, Howell, Drover. Plummer will alternate with Stoddard. And the offensive line is good now. And the BC, Elwanibi Wilson, Dave Mudge, and Garrick Jones at the left tackle.
Jamie Stoddard is in right now for Winnipeg at the slot, 2nd and 3. Roberts again, lightning strikes And Roberts down to the 35. 20 for Charles Roberts, who rushed for over 100 in one meeting against BC this year in a game in which he scored 4 touchdowns.
Well, it all starts with the big boys. Nice job, Elwin Neby. Coming off, it's called a chip block. You chip the nose tackle, you go up to the linebacker. If you get to the linebacker, you're going to have openings. And I tell you what, when you got it back with the explosiveness of Charles Roberts, he's going to get through in a hurry.
Tony Walker with the tackle. Roberts 27 yards on his first 2 touches in the game. First down at the 35. Back to Charles Roberts, this time right side. Brendan Ayanbadejo, one of those all-star linebackers, with the stop after 4 for Roberts.
Well, just a sweet play, and all they're going to do is try and get outside of these guys right here. Powell, Williams, Cantor, Herman Smith at the end. Talked about the linebacker crew. It's a good one. Ayanbadejo, Simpson, Carl Kidd, the outside linebacker, defensive backs. Martin, Walker, and Lewis at the half. Carter and Godsey getting a start at cornerback.
There's the Herminator, Herm Smith. The lone setback, Mike Sellers. 2nd and 6. And a quick hitter to Harry Jones. First pass is complete to the Winnipeg native, Marcus Howell. And another Bomber first down.
Well, here's a guy we talked about. You know, you don't have Stiegel. Stiegel says, you know what? I'm only one man. We got other guys, other weapons. Here's a weapon. Not utilized much. He's only had 1 catch in the last 3 games, but he's had big games against the BC Lions. So that's one of the things. You've got to go. You've got to utilize every weapon.
11 catches in the 3 meetings against Winnipeg for Marcus Howell, who gives the Bombers a fresh set of downs. And here's Mike Sellers, thundering down to the 10. And Sellers told us, Chris, yesterday he wanted to shut some people up on that BC side of the football.
Well, I'll tell you what, Carl Kidd is the man. He said he doesn't scare us. I'd rather have him carry the ball than Charles Roberts. We feel that we can get after him. I mean, basically, this is the big man. Thunder just breaks through that offensive line, runs over defensive linemen, and you have to bring him down. The only way to do it is by gang tackling.
What an impressive opening drive for the Bombers. First down at the 11. Roberts following Sellers. Gets outside and is ridden out by the all-star corner, Eric Carter.
Well, that's a nice job of just getting behind the big fullback. You talk about number 33. Take a look at him as he comes right there. That's a nice job and allows him to get to the outside. That's what you want to do. See 33 coming back, getting the cover blocks. You know, not only are you damaging the BC Lions running the ball, you're damaging them by blocking against them.
3 for Charles Roberts, 2nd and 7. The Bombers can make a first down without scoring a touchdown. Short trap, end zone, Stoddard, well covered by the rookie Tony Walker, who was the defensive player of the week last week against Saskatchewan.
Well, just trying to get him deep in the end zone, but a nice job, as you say, Tony Walker keeping him to the outside. The only way the Stoddar's going to make this catch is if he makes a remarkable stab with the left hand, but he kept him to the outside. It all starts with the protection. Keep Mike Sellers in there, a little extra protection. Carl Kidd coming in a blitz. Nice job. Charles Roberts taking down Kidd at the knees, allowing the time. Harry tries to get it there, unsuccessful.
The leading scorer in the Canadian Football League this year, Troy Westwood from 15 yards out. Bombers on the board first. Solid drive, but they settle for 3 here in Winnipeg. Well, it is a crisp November day for the Western semifinal in Winnipeg, and a crisp start for the Blue Bombers, resulting in a 15-yard field goal by Troy Westwood and a 3-0 lead. Lions won the season series 2-1 and won a preseason game as well. Westwood to kick it off. Carl Kidd has to let it bounce. Sidesteps the first wave, but then runs into the Hawk. Doug Hawking, former BC Lion linebacker. Always a warrior on special teams for the Bombers. And here comes Damon Allen. And again, that was an interesting story watching him in warm-up.
Well, you see him stretching. Remember, he's got that pulled muscle on the rib. Little cartilage pull right there. And he's trying to stretch it out. Remember, it's a little cool. He's got actually nice weather for Winnipeg right now. But he leaves. As he leaves, the doctor comes in, and then here's the guy that took all the pre-game reps, number 12, Ricky Foggy, is head coach Adam Rita looking on.
Here's Willie Hurst, short gain. They're trying to establish a run against the #1 run defense in the CFL for the second straight year.
Well, Willie Hurst hasn't played 10 weeks. He's going to get the ball a lot, though. Damon Allen, Sean the Diesel Millington at the other running back position. Simon Claremont, what an outstanding year. Jackson and Thelwell at the wide receiver. And a big, and I mean big, offensive line. Terrace, Harden, and Payne, Stensrud, and the new man, the man that blocks out the light, Jermise Jones.
Jones 6'5", 337. He'll protect the backside of Allen, 2nd and 6. Allen has some time. Now Doug Brown turns up the heat. Allen throws a strike and a first down. Geroy Simon, the former Bomber, with the catch. Put the ball on the turf, but it is ruled a catch.
Well, you really have to protect David Allen. This is a great job right there. Give him all the time. Now remember, when he's throwing across the body, and that's where he starts to twist. There's a torque in the throw. Didn't seem to cause him any ill effects in that one. Nice throw, threading the needle to Geroy Simon, who did not play the last time these two teams met.
David Allen, 39 years of age. Twice a Grey Cup MVP. First down, and a completion and a nice twist away by Willie Hurst. And yesterday, Adam Rita said, I'm glad to get him back. We've got a real tailback for the first time in 9 weeks.
Well, they haven't, you know.
And a good receiver.
Well, absolutely, and that's the big key right now. They use Chris Wright, but he's not really a tailback. He's more of a special team kind of guy. This man will hurt you. Willie Hurst had 164 yards of rushing one game. He wants to get it. The biggest thing about him, though, is he hasn't played in over 9 weeks, so he's got some rust. There's nothing like game time action to take that off, and that's a nice spin to get away, pick up some extra yards.
16 for Hurst, first down. Here's the Diesel. Sean Millington, who's had limited success against that hard-nosed front seven of the Bombers, and another former Lion, David Benefield, in the mix. As we see tempers for the first time in the early going.
These are a good group of guys on defense. Fortney and Brown, the twin towers inside. Brechterfield getting a start at end. And Wayne Weathers, what a game he had last week. 2 fumble recoveries, a sack, a touchdown. McGriggs, Wickman, and Clark, the linebacking crew, played all 18 games in the secondary. Europe, Lewis, and Nash, Marvin Coleman, and Ricky Bell at the corner.
Tom Europe, Harold Nash, all-stars. Second down, 5. Allen drilled, and Thelwell couldn't dig it off the turf. And David Allen gets the ribs and maybe a lot more tested on that.
Well, there's obviously, you just don't let a guy like this, David Benefield, come free from the backside. I mean, you got to know, and if you're a quarterback and you're running that kind of protection, the quarterback can never stop. He's got to keep running, because if you stop, the backside's going to, you just see right there, there's a mix-up with the left tackle and the left guard. Jermise Jones, Steve Harden, you've got to get that straightened out. You got to fan protect. You can't let the big man, Benefield, come free like that. You can't have Allen take those kind of shots.
There are Matt Kellett's numbers. His longest came against Winnipeg. This from 50 out. Ornstein the holder, and it's partially blocked, and it will bounce into the end zone. Arlen Bruce brings it out. Arlen Bruce, home free. Touchdown Winnipeg, 112 yards. The Argos rode the wave of a punt return touchdown in the Eastern Semi, and now the Bombers get a big play on special teams early.
Well, I think this is when it's a winner take all, loser go home. You use your best players, you put them in every possible situation where they get to touch the football. Arlen Bruce does just that on the punt return. Another time to touch it, and does a great job of finding an opening, busting through, and then using his speed to break into the open field. And once he's in the open field, no one's going to catch him.
Well, they asked who will step up and make big plays without Milt Stegall. And Arlen Bruce with a very quick response. Westwood adds the extra point. And they're living it up in Winnipeg early. 10-0, less than 10 minutes in. Kahari Jones told me yesterday he thinks Arlen Bruce one day will be the outstanding player in the CFL. That's why.
Well, it's funny you said, you hit on it, you said, who wants to step up? He said, you know what, I want to be the big play guy. Well, he really started off right here, getting this nice job of just getting outside, letting the blocks form. And we talked about explosiveness. Cut back, then get it. Now he sees the opening. Now he gets going. Now he accelerates to the open spot against the grain of the tacklers. Those are big men. They're not as agile as a fleet little guy like him. And I tell you what, when he gets them turning their bodies, it's no contest.
First special teams touchdown for the Bombers this season. There's Willie Hurst, who ran a kickoff back for the Lions against Edmonton, but once again it's Carl Kidd with the return. And Kidd busted across the 45 up to the 48. Again, Doug Hocking with the tackle as Bruce continues to savor his first special teams touchdown.
Well, it's just a nice job and a terrible kick by Matt Kellett. Saw last week he had 2 shanks just over the line of scrimmage. Lucky to not have that one blocked, but again, I mean, this is just God-given ability to recognize openings and exploit and use the speed to get there. And once he's in the open field with his entourage of blockers, no contest, and 112 yards later, it's a touchdown.
And this is where the 18-year veteran has to settle things down for the BC Lions. Allen going to the air, open man, and G. Roy Simon brings it down. A spectacular catch.
Now, we talked about going after the corners. Marvin Cole, remember last week in Edmonton, took a shot while trying to come up with an interception. Hasn't practiced all week. The back has been giving him trouble, seizing up on him in practice. You see him right there. Now, I'm a little surprised that he let that ball and reacted to what I look like, to me, a little slow right there, because Simon looked like he was playing the ball. He kind of climbed the ladder, put the paw up there and brought it down, but a little slow reaction from the normally good player.
Simon says, great catch, and now Willie Hurst. And Hurst down to the 25. Well, you just had the sense that BC needed a response with everything going Winnipeg's way.
Most definitely have to do that. And that's one of the things you like. And you talk about Damon Allen, a lot of speculation seeing about him leaving the pregame twice, but that was a nice throw and an equally impressive catch by G. Roy Simon. And then, of course, then you give it to the scat back. Willie Hurst takes it outside of the sweep play, picks up 9.5 yards.
Second less than a yard. Let's see if Allen uses a free play. No, he'll plunge ahead behind 16-year veteran Jamie Terrace in his final postseason. And they move the chains.
Well, it's a nice job, and I really like this call because when you're a quarterback, the less people that touch the football, the less chance of fumbling. He takes it, just tucks behind, as you say, big Jamie Terrace, a 16-year veteran, and picks up the first down and, you know, keeps the drive alive.
4-time All-Star. Terrace the center, and Sean Millington as well. Potentially their last game of brilliant CFL careers. Twin tights, and Allen throwing the out. Incomplete again. Unable to hook up with the fine second-year wideout, Ryan Thelwell.
Well, just trying to throw a little hitch pass to Thelwell, but talked about Ricky Bell. Ricky Bell very aggressive in that quarterback position, and he closes on it quickly, and he's there right there. Just after the ball is caught, you see Millington trying to release, You're running a little double tight end. Sometimes they use the big offensive lineman, sometimes be Claremont and Millington, and that offers them the opportunity to maybe throw a pass. But Griggs would have none of that on that play.
Damon Allen has thrown only one touchdown pass in the last 12 quarters. 2nd and 10. He looks downfield and Hurst couldn't bring it in. That would have ended the touchdown pass drought.
Well, right between Nash and Tom Europe, the safety, the ball had to be right on the money, and it was. Willie Hurst, 33, just over the outstretched hands, just off the fingertips.
A ball that should have been caught, and 10 or 11 weeks of rust.
Well, that showed right there, but I tell you what, even if you're not playing, remember, he was still practicing with the team, and you got to come up with those catches.
Now Kellett, after shaking his first attempt, will try from 36, and he's got this one. So Matt Kellett regroups, and the Lions get on the board after the lightning from Bruce. .226 remaining first quarter. 10-3 Blue Bombers, and they'll take possession at their own 35-yard line. If you're just joining us, the Toronto Argonauts winning the Eastern Semi over Saskatchewan and earning a trip to the Olympic Stadium next week to meet the Montreal Alouettes. Kahari Jones steps up and gets to the 40-yard line and has 5. And there's an injured Blue Bomber on the play.
Well, that's Garrick Jones. They really like this newcomer, getting a 6th start at the left tackle position. Looks like he twisted the knee a little bit. Boy, they can ill afford to lose him. As also a zebra down. One of the referees caught in the scrum. As Kahari Jones can't find anybody. Avoids a potential sack, tucks the ball, and takes what he can before Barron Smith decides to drag him over the referee just to make the point. That's the way he uses it. You can see right, I mean, that's just using him right there.
That's Craig Powell, the rush in of the BC Lions. Garrick Jones stays in, and he's unbeaten in his CFL career. Joined the team with 5 games left, and the Bombers have won all 5. 2nd down and 5, and Kahari Jones following the blocking of the right guard Eric Wilson, but he'll be short of the first down.
Well, you know what, and this is what Kahari Jones has to do. If there's nothing there, don't force the situation, get outside. But what you really gotta love, I mean, you're gonna take a look, and as we get around there, on the ground, 33, Mike Sellers just buries Derek Lewis, and that's the key, to get to the outside. You're right there. Now look at this. That is a pancake on the back. That allows Kahari Jones to get to the outside and pick up a few yards, put him in a 3rd and short, but they still got to bring out the punting team. But you got to love the way that Sellers is fired up, and whether he's carrying the football or blocking for the carrier or the quarterback, boy, he's leaving a trail of Lion bodies.
Tony Walker, the punt returner for the Lions. And Clark got a piece of him. Hawking finishes him off. And Doug Hawking is revved up to play his old team here today.
Well, Doug Hawking, who has only 5 special team tackles all year, but really does a nice job. Already having 2 today. But as you say, Brian Clark with the initial contact. It's a way to hustle.
Let's join Brenda Irving.
CBC for the documentary, A Part of Us All. It takes a look at last season's Stanley Cup final and follows our Hockey Night in Canada crew. That's 7 p.m. local time on CBC.
Looking forward to that tonight. Scott Russell with some fine work on that, and here's the Diesel, unable to get going, and they have done quite a job on Sean Millington this season. Wayne Weathers in on the stop, and what a game he had last week.
You know, you hate to say that was a breakout game for the 5th-year vet, but I really believe it was. I mean, this guy was everywhere. 2 fumble recoveries. The ball comes loose. Brian Clark, Johnny on the spot, Wayne Weathers' first fumble recovery. Then the ball is stripped from Jason Moss. And there he is again, 99 with his first career touchdown in the end zone. And let's not be finished yet. How about a sack?
Millington lost 1, 2nd and 11. Jason Claremont up at the 45. And how about Claremont before the game? It's -6, wind chill -11. And he came out in the spandex with no sleeves
to make a point.
Guns.
To make a point, that's what he did. He's walking around with no sleeves. A lot of the Bombers are also walking around. They got the hoodies on. They're looking and thinking, hey, this is a Vancouverite, but they forget the biggest thing. Claremont, he's a Regina boy. He's used to this weather.
Taking a page out of the Walby Warrior book. And now back to the ground on the final play of the first quarter. There's the outstanding product from Regina. And the top rookie in the West. And we're through 15 minutes in the Western semifinal. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have a 1-touchdown lead. Arlen Bruce's 112-yard return of a missed Matt Kellett field goal is the difference after 15 minutes as we check the numbers.
Well, you take a look, it's pretty even first downs, but yards passing, BC with the big edge. And it could have been even worse if Willie Hurst would have caught that sure touchdown pass. You look at the rushing yards in favor of Winnipeg and the time of possession in favor of the BC Lions. As you say, the big play right now, the special team, the punt return, or the missed field goal return, excuse me, by Mr. Excitement today, Arlen Bruce.
That's a productive quarter of yardage for Damon Allen. And now on second down, was looking for Thelwell, who got caught up with Ricky Bell and couldn't get to the football.
Well, Thelwell was trying to run a little out pattern. The ball was deep. That's just a play where Damon Allen is expecting Thelwell to go back up the field, run a little wheel route, out and up. One-on-one coverage. Ricky Bell really tight right on him. Just going to play him out. Now just push him out like that. Thelwell figures, hey, my progress is being impeded. I can't get downfield.
Allen's looked at Thelwell 4 times today and has yet to connect with his sophomore wideout.
Well, every game we've done against Winnipeg since they've acquired Ricky Bell, they've gone after him, and that is because he has a reputation of being very aggressive. And as a result, he will get called for pass interference a number of times.
Short punt by Martino. And it goes out of bounds at the 37 as we rejoin Brenda.
Well, Chris, the CFL on CBC continues next weekend. First, we will bring you the Eastern Final from Montreal. It's the Als at a sold-out Olympic Stadium to play the Toronto Argonauts. That should be a great game.
Anthony Calvillo, who missed the last game of the regular season, nursing a hamstring injury. Here's Kahari Jones, 46 touchdown passes on the year, none last week. The only game all season long. He did not throw a TD pass. Charles Roberts up to the 40 for 3 yards.
Well, I see Barron Simpson's down holding the leg. He got caught up with Garrick Jones. The running play got to the linebacker. Ball obviously coming loose as a result of contact with the field, but Barron Simpson still on the ground as we take a look at Charles Roberts. 1,162 yards rushing this year.
Now this would be a huge loss. Barron Simpson, the middle linebacker, an all-star, 92 tackles, which was tied for first in the CFL with Orlando Steinauer of the Toronto Argonauts. And with Simpson gone for at least 3 plays, in all likelihood, Ian Badejo will move to the middle, and Toya Jones will come in on the outside. So some concern for the Lions as their all-star linebacker gets attention. Barron Simpson getting attention, seemed to be getting some weight on the leg that got rolled on.
Well, it's Eric Wilson. There's the one guy in here. These are the 2 guys that are going to meet. Now as we roll the play, just going to chip block. Now he's going to go up to there. Now take a look, stop and watch right here at the bottom here. Look at the roll. It's going to roll right into him. Another offensive lineman taking the legs out from underneath on Baron Simpson, and he had to leave the football game.
Here's Canadian Jamie Stoddard, a BC boy. And again, Stoddard getting a chance to play today with the injury to Milt Stiegel.
Well, Stoddard excited about the opportunity. Feels he's a natural slot back. He loves to get involved. He's a big man. He wants to get the football, wants to get in the heat of the battle.
And Chris, he had a tough year, and he felt this was an opportunity to salvage a disappointing season. And Adam Rita has gone with Ron Akami.
Well, Akami, who was the starter earlier in the season until they got Ian Badejo, so he's had some playing time, albeit not for a while.
So Akami takes the outside. Ian Badejo replacing Simpson, and Roberts dragged down by Brendan Ian Badejo. A couple of yards on the gain, but what a season Ian Badejo has had. An all-star season, and he didn't even get a start till August 9th, and he's among the leaders in all the defensive categories.
I mean, these three linebackers, I mean, they're in the top 8 in the CFL in tackles, but Ian Badejo, I mean, 21 tackles, 3 interceptions against Winnipeg. All his interceptions, in fact, he's only got 3, are all against Kahari Jones. He's had 1 each game, and he says, you know what? Look for me to get number 4 today. Well, we'll have to see if that happens.
2nd and 8, the ball at the Winnipeg 52. The Lions defense all jump up front, and that pass is incomplete with markers on the field.
Nice job of Kahari Jones changing the snap count. Use a little voice fluctuation, drawing the BC Lions offside, causing them to jump. And that's a real good job. You know, a good job is when you get one guy to jump. A great job is when you get the entire defensive line to jump.
BC number 91. Repeat, second down.
It's the first penalty of the game, Chris. What's wrong with these two teams? Usually they both get 150 yards plus.
Well, they know, as you see, they all jump. He's right over here. I mean, basically what's happening right now is they realize that the team that stays composed, that plays with passion, has a good chance to come out of this a winner.
2nd and 3, big Mike Sellers, and you don't see that very often. Stood up and driven back, and a little message there delivered by Tyrone Williams and Brent Johnson.
Well, I love the story when we got Carl Kidd yapping at Mike Sellers. Mike Sellers saying, you know, I talked to Carl Kidd. Carl Kidd does not want to meet me in the hole. He told me so. And then he goes, you know what? But there's one guy that Mike Sellers is scared of, and that's Tyrone Williams. And you wondered if they were just playing it off each other, you know, because you know there's a lot of that going on, a lot of mind games before the football game. But boy, Tyrone Williams, nice job of filling that hole quickly.
So 3rd down, and Bob Cameron in the punt. Nice high punt. Walker drops it. It's loose, and who gets on it? I think the Lions retain possession, but an anxious moment there. .11:40 remaining, first half of the Western semifinal. Tony Walker managed to maintain possession after dropping the punt and having Jason Congdon bearing down on him with Brian Clark.
And you know one thing I like about that replay, it shows you your long snapper. They tell you, right up, head up to the nose, go right to the football.
That's the rookie out of Western Ontario. And now, Willie Hurst. Up across the 15-yard line. Brenda?
Well, Chris, the Lions, Baron Simpson went off a little bit earlier. Well, what happened is he twisted his left ankle and knee. The doctors are looking at him right now. He's walking up and down the sideline, looking to be doing quite well, though, and they think that he will eventually be able to get back into this game.
It would be a huge loss if Simpson can't come back, but he looked pretty good.
You'll never keep a guy like that. He's a stud. He's a warrior. You're never going to keep him out of the lineup.
2nd and 7. Damon Allen outside. Geroy Simon high stepping for a first down. He missed last week, Simon, and valuable inside receiver has already made one circus catch.
You know, he's had some time in Winnipeg. Knows some of the guys here. Good friends with some. But happy to be back. We saw him before the game. He had a big bounce in his step. As you see, he's got one right there. And he can't play off. I mean, he's wide open. It's a release valve for Damon Allen, but he can't be that wide open.
Lions did not have a 1,000-yard receiver, but 4 over 700 yards. And here's Simon again, and he's got it at the Winnipeg 50. And G. Roy Simon has been the favorite receiver in the first half.
Well, you know what? And this is something that people don't give Damon Allen a lot of credit for. He studies as much film as any other quarterback in the league. Now, you say, look who he's going after. He's working against Harold Nash, 0-0. An all-star, having one of his best campaigns. They've gone after him a couple times. Little over him, they drawing the double coverage. A safety, Tom Europe, is also coming over there. But as you say, Simon, we've seen him bring one down one-handed. Boy, I tell you what, G-Roy Simon, 4 for 93 already.
That's a good game. And we're still in the first half. And there's Stilwell with his first catch as he's been in a duel with Ricky Bell.
And the nice thing that he's doing is he's keeping the ball all over the football field. You know what? If you don't use your wide receivers, your cornerbacks can cheat in a little bit. That can actually be like a little bit of a double coverage. But when you start throwing to the outside, they got to play honest. That opens up the middle.
2 touchdowns for Ryan Thelwell, but last time the Lions and Bombers met,
well, he was their most dangerous receiver all year against the Bombers.
Second down, rush on. Allen got it away, but it falls incomplete, and David Allen took another big shot, and now in some difficulty.
Well, he got rolled. Now, he got knocked over. Doug Brown came through the middle, 97, and then when Benefield hit him, he pushed Damon Allen over. You see Doug Brown going down there. That may be a situation of the knees right there. Remember, he also has taken some painkiller shots for the ribs. This is something we talked about. You cannot, it's the second time we've seen the protection allowing the backside end, and again in this case it was David Benefield, to come free. You see Ricky Foggy, headset on, that's going to have to come off as he warms up.
In the only win by Winnipeg over BC during the regular season, Allen left the game early with a hamstring problem, and Foggy came in.
Well, that's right. Foggy came in the first quarter. Didn't really put up spectacular numbers. Only completed 30% of his passes in that game won by the Bombers. And there you see David Benefield, 56. Doug Brown on the ground, almost like a speed bump. Damon Allen being pushed over him, landing hard on the side, and that's one thing you're looking at. You see they're looking at the knee, and that's one of the things. We know about the ribs, and I think the knee just joined the list of ailments for Damon Allen.
And that left knee.
That does not look good. When they're taking all the weight off it.
Looked like he had one step, and that was too much. And that may be the Lions' season getting helped off the field. Third down, Martino, better punt. Cornering Arlen Bruce, and the Bombers are backed up. But they have a touchdown lead, and they may have knocked the opposing quarterback out. Well, Damon Allen now at least able to get some weight on that. That's fairly encouraging.
Well, he sits back here, and you can see that Doug Brown is pushed from behind by Jermise Jones, the left tackle. Benefield, who comes free. Now, one of the things, Chris, is that slide protection. Your quarterback better keep moving. You can't sit up.
Well, Khari Jones would like to get the Bombers' offense moving. Backed up at their own 5, Charles Roberts. And is able to scramble for 3 as we join Brenda Irving.
Well, Chris, the BC medical staff say that Damon Allen kind of tweaked his knee a little bit. They say that he has had some problems in the past over the years with that left knee, but they say it's nothing serious, that he will be okay, and they do expect him to return.
We're just recalling over 18 brilliant years. He's had his share of nicks, but never a serious knee injury. He's always had those great wheels. 2nd and 7. Screen Roberts. Charles Roberts dumped. at the 12-yard line, and he'll be short of a first down.
Well, I tell you what, Carl Kidd, put the S on your chest because you just saved a big play. This is a little screen. Sneak him out, dump him the ball, get the big man in front of him. You can see 26 just going to knife her on the block and take the legs out from Charles Roberts. And had he not done that, Charles Roberts, as quick as he is, may have gone for a long way.
He's been making those plays all year. That's why he was the defensive and outstanding nominee out of BC.
That's why I like a guy like that. I love guys that talk, especially when they back it up on the football field.
And he's been talking all week long. Tony Walker lost the ball, and the Lions get back on it. Lyle Green was backing up Tony Walker, who's made an adventure out of the last 2 punt returns.
I'll tell you, when you lose the first one, to see Ricky Foggy going to come in a football game. Tony Walker lost the last one. Very fortunate to recover. This time he gets cranked and the ball comes loose. Again, fortunate his teammates around to recover the football.
I think Ricky thought he was going in, and Damon said, no, you're not. And Damon Allen's back in the game.
Oh, you got it like that.
So Damon Allen staying in the game and handing it off. Willie Hurst. And he's out at the 35, close to a first down.
Now remember, this is a team that only allows us as a defense 80 yards rushing against a game. This shows the speed of Willie Hurst. I mean, he's basically going east-west, and he's still picking up a first down. Let's take a look at Damon as he hands it off. Looks a little gingerly on that, not taking huge steps, but it's kind of hard to tell when you're Damon Allen. You know, he can turn it on in a second.
Always talked about the way he's somehow discovered the fountain of youth, but today he's looking a little more like a 39-year-old, but gutting it out.
Well, what did Adam Rita say? He says, you know what, I can get into Damon Allen's face. I can say things I would never say to other people. He says, we have like a father-son relationship. He says, no, not really, because he says, Damon's almost my age.
Well, he challenged him again before last week's Saskatchewan game. Rita challenged Allen when he took over the coaching job, and both times Damon has responded. It's a first down for the Lions. And again, it's Willie Hurst. And Hurst down to the 25, close to another first down. So they are getting it done on the ground against the Bombers' defense.
Well, it's as a counter. They're just going to pull a couple linemen. There you see the center and the backside tackle. Old-fashioned counter. Kick out and pull up by the backside. Find a hole, and Willie Hurst sees the hole, busts through it. That's the thing they like about this guy. He's got explosive speed, very much similar to a Charles Roberts, and if he sees it, he can get through it in a hurry.
Star running back at the University of Washington. They were anxious to get him into the lineup, but he quickly departed with the knee injury. But Hurst has made an impact so far today. 2nd and 1. Allen rolls. Claremont was open, and Allen pulls it down. And should have the first down, but he didn't see Jason Claremont.
Well, we got the best seat in the house, and I tell you what, 82 is wide open. Everybody's inside the box. Look at all these guys in the box here, and that's because they're anticipating a handoff or a quarterback sneak. He keeps the ball, gets to the outside, and dives for the first down. Comes up short. It's 3rd and short now, but as you say, look at Claremont. He's wide open. Damon Allen just didn't see him.
He is short, and it is 3rd down. And the fans are on their feet. Allen plunging. And the officials getting some help with the spot from that Blue Bomber defense.
Well, they're going to call for a measurement as you see Damon Allen still on the ground. But the thing about a veteran quarterback, what a veteran quarterback will do is he'll go to the line and look for gaps in the defense. He's not normally just going to go to the right side. He's going to take it, not tell the offensive line sometimes which way he's going to go, find an opening where he sees a bubble or nobody there and try and go there to pick up the first down. He picks up a first down here. He's going to take a look, go to the left side, tuck, and does a nice job of staying low. You stay up high, you got a chance to get banged or cranked on by one of the linebackers.
You wonder if he doesn't have the same push with the knee problem. But when he was helped off, it looked like his day was done.
Well, I think he has a nickname, Gumby. He's stretched.
Right.
He's rubber man.
5 minutes left. It's been an interesting first half. It's a first down. Harold Nash.
Oh, just an old-fashioned halfback blitz. Harold Nash, 0-0, coming off the short side, not being picked up. That kind of speed. Boy, you better get rid of the football. Remember, this is blind side too. This is blind. He doesn't see him. The last second turns, sees a blur, a cloud coming at him wearing 0-0. It's a nice job of the Bomber defense being aggressive when it has to be.
A loss of 8. It'll be 2nd and 18. Wickman comes out of the game. And a nickel back in, Dave Donaldson, an extra DP. Harold Nash, an all-star once again for Winnipeg. Here comes the rush again. Doug Brown after Allen, and he has to step out at the 41.
They're trying to run the screen. They're trying to get Sean Millington to release, let the pressure come up. Millington stumbles, can't get open. As we saw, David Allen can't get the football to him. Just a block. All he's going to do is block. He stumbles, and as he stumbles, that kills the play right there. You see Brian Clark recognizes that, stays with him. David Allen has nowhere to dump the ball, and he has to run out of bounds.
And against the breeze, the Lions have elected not to attempt a 47-yard Matt Kellett field goal. Martino will come in to punt. Bouncing it down to the 10 where Arlen Bruce seemed to bobble it, but they were within the 5-yard restraining. And Arlen Bruce helps the officials spot the 5-yard penalty. Well, David Allen was the focus of the pregame warm-up, and it's been even a tougher afternoon since the Bombers turned up the heat.
Well, we heard a couple things happen, as you see on this last play. Diving for first downs, getting sacked by Nash, trying to make things happen, and I think the story so far has been a story of tweaked knees. Baron Simpson with a little tweaked knee, and David Allen, as you see, he's having a little conference there. Alfred Jackson, the receiving group, in front of the heaters.
Steve Barretto, who started the year as the Lions head coach. 3:33 to go, first half. Jones play action, Sellers screen, and he's cut down. Hakami with the tackle.
Hakami does a nice job of taking the legs out. Too many people in this league have tried to take the big man up high. You're never going to do it. You got to take the wheels off the locomotive. He does a nice job there, going low. Sellers goes down. A graduate of Walla Walla. Converted defensive lineman. I played this guy when he was a defensive lineman with Edmonton. Well, he sure found fame and fortune as a fullback.
2nd and 5. And the time counter was their early movement. And a little pushing as Cameron Legault makes his way through that Bomber offensive line.
Well, you got to like this defensive line that the BC Lions have. They rotate. They've got Cantor.
Procedure. Winnipeg number 64. Still 2nd down.
That's Mo Elawanibi. And the 3-minute warning given to the benches here in the Peg.
Welcome back to Winnipeg, where the Bombers lead the Lions by a score of 10-3. Coming up at the half, we'll go back to Toronto for more on today's Argos big win, and our panel here will break down the first half of play. That's coming up at the half.
Argos prevailing over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Here's 2nd and 10 for Kahari Jones, and he has a completion to Jeff Drover. The St. John's, Newfoundland product out of the University of Calgary. with a big first down.
Well, they love Jeff Drover. They love his work ethic in practice. 100 miles an hour. That's all he goes. He only knows one speed. It's a nice job of working against Eric Carter on the outside and bringing it into the middle of the football field. Nice catch, nice throw by Kahari Jones, a second-year man out of Calgary.
Wasn't in the lineup for the Grey Cup game last year, and you know he's anxious to help his team get back there. 21 yards on that completion. Jones back to the air. Arlen Bruce dancing across midfield. Fumbles. Lions could have it. Who's got it? BC does. So one extra move by Arlen Bruce and another BC All-Star. Eric Carter's got the ball.
Whoever comes over the ball, you gotta like the way they play. Stars throw. Kahari sees it. He gets one-on-one. Aubrey Bruce comes in, a nice job, finds out a little opening. Now he's working against Barron Simpson, who's back in the lineup. You see him right there. He misses. Usually the sure-handed tackler. Now he makes that extra move. Carl Kidd is ripping the football out. Again, Carl Kidd with the big play. Marcus Howell almost comes up with it. Eric Carter eventually does, and the BC Lions have the football.
Safety Manny Martin helped off in the 3 games during the regular season. BC forced 14 Winnipeg turnovers. At the 45, first down. Willie Hurst changes direction. And across the 50 to the 52. And every time Hurst has touched the ball, you know why he was so highly regarded by the Lions.
Well, it's a counter play again. They're going to pull the center and the backside tackle. Now he's got to follow the second guy to tackle. Now he sees this all clogged up. This is just instinct. Breaks it back against the grain of the tacklers and picks up 8 yards. It's a nice job by Willie Hurst.
That's a pretty good first half of work after being off 11 weeks. 2nd and 3. Under 2 minutes to go, first half. And Sean Millington has the first down.
Well, Sean Millington, as much as he wants to carry the ball every time, really would appreciate having a running mate back there like a Willie Hurst. Take some of the heat off him, so when he gets the ball, he's fresh, he gets through there, and he uses his power. The leg drive, that's the biggest thing about Sean Millington. Refuses to be brought down, keeps the Pistons pumping, and picks up the first down.
99 yards on 17 carries in the 2000 Grey Cup game for Sean Millington. First down, Allen, and he has Alfred Jackson calling number 7's number for the first time today.
Well, don't ever go to sleep on Alfred Jackson out there because he will burn you. Just a quick out, and again, the coverage is soft. They're playing off on the receivers, not wanting to get burned deep. But I tell you what, if you do that, Damon Allen's just going to keep coming back and pick up 8 to 9 yards to throw. Little pitch and catch with Alfred Jackson on that play.
Alfred hot late in the year because they were not throwing deep, were not stretching the defense. And he said, I used to be a DB. I knew that impacted on a defense. And
here's a guy that had 247 yards and 4 touchdowns this year against Montreal, and all of a sudden he's been quiet.
2nd and 1, and Millington did well just to get back to the line of scrimmage. David Benefield read the play beautifully.
Well, Benefield, I like his attitude. There he is, no sleeves. That's what you want to do. Get up there. It's football, people. Nice job of beating the block, dragging him down from the backside. Actually lost yards on the play.
And now a 2nd, 3rd down gamble in this first half for BC. It's 3rd and a long yard.
That's a long yard. They had less the last play, and thanks to Benefield, they got more to go.
It's about a yard and a half. Here we go. 3rd down, Millington right side. Not going to get there. And after a turnover by Winnipeg, the Bombers force the Lions to turn it over on downs.
Well, it's always an interesting play when they try and run a little bit of a sweep. They pull the front side guard. Dan Payne, 57. He's going to get out in front. He gets the block. He's on Brian Clark. But what they do, he loses his footing. He goes down. There's just too many blue guys to push back. And as a result, Millington nowhere to go. That allows the pursuit to get him, and Great defensive stand by the Bomber defense.
48 seconds left. And the ball at the 45 for Kahari Jones. Dumps it off Roberts. First down Winnipeg into BC territory. And now a penalty marker comes down a little after the whistle action.
You know, this is a great call by Kahari Jones again. I mean, they're only going to rush 4. Just the defensive linemen are going to come in. Roberts is kept in, little protective blocking ability. He sleeks out there, gets a ball, and then when he gets an open field, he just makes people miss. As you say, the flag came down late. Looks like they're going to
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg number 68. That's a dead ball foul.
Ooh.
First down.
Dave Mudge. And that will be a fine from Dave Ritchie.
Well, I'll tell you what, and Dave Mudge is the least likely candidate for taking one of those penalties. He's the most mild-mannered person you've ever. He's almost like the Superman. You wouldn't know. He's Clark Kent.
And Chris, in the 3 regular season games, the team that was penalized the most was the team that lost. And Dave Ritchie saying it couldn't have been Dave Mudge.
Well, the biggest thing that's haunted the Blue Bombers all year is that penalty right there, the objectionable conduct penalty.
Sellers won't go down. And that'll stoke this crowd.
Well, chop left, you're just going to see, he's just going to come around. He's just right there. He's just going to try and clear the pile. And all he's doing, and I tell you what, as an offensive line, when you're running down there, a lot of times you don't hear the whistle. You see anybody coming to try and pile on your back, you're there to protect them.
9 for Sellers, 2nd and 11. And it's 8 straight completions for Kahari Jones. And Jeff Drover has his 2nd catch.
Kahari Jones will be the first one to tell you when he feels that he's in his zone. Boy, I tell you what, he knows he's got that confidence that he can make anything work. It's a nice job of just getting the ball out to Drover again. Short side of the football field, good throw. Pick up another first down.
24 seconds left as they try to get into Troy Westwood range. Rashad Jones, and he throws behind Charles Roberts. Incomplete.
Well, they leaked both backs that time, Chris. Charles Roberts went to the short side. Mike Sellers leaked out to the wide side of the football field. BC played that very well. Both linebackers on the wide side. Ian Badejo short field and Carl Kidd responsible for the backs. Had them covered.
2nd and 10. Jones looking near side, incomplete. Trying to hook up with Drover again. And it will be 3rd down.
Just a little underthrown. Tight coverage by Eric Carter. Jeff Drover tries to come back to the football. Kahari Jones would like to have a little bit more on that football. Get it to Jeff Drover.
So Cameron will have to punt. 15 seconds left in what has been a hard-nosed first half between 2 great CFL defenses.
Well, you know what? We've seen David Allen, as hurt as he is, banged up knee, banged up ribs. He's moving the BC offense. On this drive, we saw Kahari Jones do a nice job of moving the Bomber offense.
Both teams have traded field goals, and the Arlen Bruce special teams return of a missed field goal will be the difference in this first half. Just a 20-yard punt for Bob Cameron.
You also got to remember the nice defensive stand by the Blue Bombers. And the Bomber defense shutting the door on 2 attempts by the BC offense in Bomber territory.
I know you must be getting flashbacks. This is kind of like the 1980s when the Lions and Bombers were such bitter rivals.
Well, you know what? You look at it. This is the first time we've met them in a playoff game since '86. I mean, '84, I can remember the game in the Dome. '85, they had a scenario much like we do with Stiegel out. They had Mervyn Fernandez, who was injured. We went in there thinking that, you know what, the top dog is not there. Ned Armour was a guy that rose to the occasion and put the bullets in our back.
Adam Rita was recounting that yesterday from his perspective, wondering if it would help the Bombers without Milt Stegall. And Rita's team will head to the locker room down by a touchdown. But the good news is that Damon Allen still has a little bounce in his step after a very physical first half.
Well, that's promising news for BC fans and teammates alike. I mean, they know that their fortunes rest with that man, number 9.
Brenda?
Well, Dave Ritchie, how did you feel about the way your offense performed in that first half without Milt Stegall?
Well, enough to have 10 points, but we're going to have to be better because our offense didn't do a whole lot since the first series or two. And we moved the ball, and then we have a turnover over here, which, again, the turnover can hurt us. So we've got to, correct that stuff.
Good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Well, here in Winnipeg, it's the Bombers leading the Lions 10-3 in this Western semifinal in Winnipeg.
Halftime here at Canada Stadium in Winnipeg. The difference in this football game, that 112-yard touchdown return of the missed Matt Kellett field goal by Winnipeg's Arlen Bruce III. And if you are just joining us, good afternoon from Winnipeg. I'm Brian Williams. Eric Tillman, Danny McManus will join me here in just a minute. Earlier this afternoon, the Toronto Argonauts advanced to the Eastern Final next weekend in Montreal against the Alouettes. The Standard Life football heroes thus far, the Toronto Argonauts. With more on the Argonauts win, once again from Toronto, here is CBC's Bruce Rainey. Bruce.
Canadian football heroes. Brought to you by Standard Life.
O'Brien, it's the calm after the storm here at Skydome in Toronto. The Argos today in the East Division semifinal, 24-12 over Saskatchewan in front of more than 23,000 fans. And a tale of two halves. Saskatchewan dominated the first. The Rough Riders early on actually moved to the second quarter. Derek Armstrong would get behind the Argos secondary. Nealon Green perfect with the 42-yard touchdown strike. 10-0 Rough Riders there. Key play here, late in the first half. The Rough Riders had been dominating. Bashir Livingston on the reverse. He takes this punt return 76 yards, and this was certainly the turning point. A big call by the Argos. It reversed momentum totally. Late in the game, Reggie Slack, a 7-yard run. 24-12, Argos the final. No doubt who the happiest man on the field was. And with me now is the man who helped orchestrate this victory, the coach, Pinball Clemens. And Coach, first of all, the call near the end of the first half, the punt return reverse. Was that yours?
It was my call, but it wasn't my run. That was all Bashir Livingston and the other guys out there working, because it didn't work exactly how we designed it. We planned on that reverse coming and him reversing field and heading up the sideline. He reversed field, went to that sideline. He changed direction, came all the way to the other sideline. A spectacular play, and a lot of guys didn't give up on him. They kept working on the play, and that was the difference.
You told me at halftime the key would be your defense in the second half. They didn't allow a point.
Well, I asked them that at halftime, and of course we had some things go for us in our favor, because we had some good field position situations. We had their offense backed up because of some things that happened in the special teams, and so it was a coordinated effort there. We're so proud of the guys. They did such a wonderful job, and I don't know what else to expect from these guys. They just keep on doing the unexpected.
How far do you feel this team can go?
One game at a time. I think we can go to Montreal now, and that's it. We don't have a pass to go any further. In order to go to the next level, we have to win, and so we've got a pass now to go to Montreal. So I think we'll be headed there.
Great game, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So for the second week in a row, Pinball sees his team come from behind. Yes, indeed, you're going to Montreal next weekend, 1 Eastern on CBC. Back live in Winnipeg right after this. This afternoon, as promised, the general manager of the Ottawa Renegades, Eric Tillman, quarterback of the Hamilton Ticats, Danny McManus. Eric, good conditions for running the football, and as we'll see, Winnipeg started to run early.
Yeah, they did, and it's they had some success early on with Charles Roberts. He had a nice run by him, to set up a first field goal. But really, you didn't have, you see right here, you got a nice seal block, a really nice seal block by the left side of the offensive line. Roberts' great acceleration. He bounces it, takes it down, gives them that first field goal. Hey.
All right, speaking of that field goal and a field goal, there was a shank field goal by Kellett from the BC Lions. And Danny, let's you have a look at that. Here's the Shank field goal, sets up the only touchdown.
It's one of the most feared things. It's a 50-yard field goal, and if you look out here who guys are covering, it's a lot of offensive linemen that are out there. So a guy like Arlen Bruce going against the offensive lineman, it's a mismatch. And then the two other guys out there are the kicker and the holder, who's a quarterback. And I know for sure, you can ask the big guy upstairs, Chris Walby hated covering field goals.
The most dangerous play in the Canadian Football League, those guys chasing a little rabbit.
We thought Arlen Bruce, we'd see him replacing Milt Stegall as a big go-to guy in offense. He says, I like pressure, but he told me yesterday, don't forget, I can perform on the special teams. Now, let's talk about the quarterbacks. We're going to talk about Damon Allen, and why don't you begin, Eric? He was hit hard. They were all over him, but he keeps coming back.
Well, Winnipeg is very aggressive defensively. I mean, they are an outstanding football team. They're going to get after the quarterback. Damon took some shots early on, but I think what they've got to do, you see right here, Doug Brown gets blocked. He beats a guy inside. I don't think it was a dirty play, but it certainly hurt Damon. I think what they've got to do in the second half, though, is get Damon on the perimeter more, and I think they need to utilize their receivers on the outside, attack those corners. I'm surprised to see Alfred Jackson playing out to the field. I'd like to see him on the boundary, get him in man-to-man situations and see if he can reach his big play capability, because that's the best way to beat these Bombers, I think, is to attack the corners.
Well, it's been a big afternoon, a busy afternoon for Damon Allen. He's been hurt, but he's back in this game. What about Kahari Jones? He's often overlooked. Everyone talks about Stegall, everyone talks about Arlen Bruce, but he makes his team go.
Yeah, Kahari is the key to this team. I think in the first drive that they had, he did everything that they wanted him to do, and since that point, we haven't got back to that package that they used at the beginning, and I think Dave Ritchie addressed that. He's going to talk to the offense, get back to some of the stuff that they were doing at the beginning of the ball game and start using that in the second half. Kahari has not made any mistakes. He's playing solid football, just needs to be a little bit more aggressive out there.
By the way, Arlen Bruce is the difference in this football game. He's got a great sense of humor. I said to him yesterday, do they talk on the BC defense? He said, do they talk? The first time I played them, I figured they all had to have their own talk shows. Arlen Bruce, the difference. Stay with us. Chris Walby, Chris Cuthbert up next when we roll on live from here in Winnipeg.
Well, I told him that basically we had 30 minutes to make up 10 points, and that we can do it. Our defense is playing well. We need to be sure that be a little bit more careful on our special teams. But before I close, I'd like to say hello to Harry and Kevin.
I got one more question for you. How's Damon Allen feeling? His ribs and his knee.
Well, he's a little battered, but it's the playoff game, and it's do or die. And he'd rather do than die, so he should be okay.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
Now let's go back upstairs to Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby.
Thank you, Brian. Brenda, Damon Allen certainly showed how resilient he is in that first half. Well, there's Winnipeg Stadium. It feels like the playoffs. A definite chill in the air, but how about yesterday? Walby had a big smile on his face. He wanted to play right then. The snowballs were out, and the Bombers were hoping that the field conditions might be like this on Western semifinal Sunday. However, let's tip our caps to the Winnipeg Enterprises crew, because they're out at 4:30 this morning, and that field is fast, and they've done a nice job.
They really have done a great job. You know what? And as much as the teams talk about playing in bad weather, I think when you got two good football clubs, let's not weather be a huge factor. Let's at least have the field of play in top condition, and that's what we got right now.
Brett Anderson will kick it off. And Arlen Bruce defers to Charles Roberts. And Akami with a terrific downfield pursuit to make the tackle. Harry Jones leading the offense out, and here are halftime numbers.
Well, you see right now the net yards in favor of the BC Lions. Turnovers one apiece. One on downs by BC and a fumble late in the second quarter by Arlen Bruce. Time of possession favoring the BC Lions. Chris, the Winnipeg, one of the things they have had, they've led the league all year. Time of possession, they feel that's real critical to the games they've won.
Jones with 10 300-yard games passing this year, but 8 when Milt Steagall's had 100 yards plus receiving. Harry Jones, Arlen Bruce unable to make the one-handed catch. As we check Kahari Jones' passing chart on the first half.
Well, you can see the Reds are obviously the incomplete. Nothing too deep. As always, he likes to go to the left. He loves to swing it out here, and he's got a couple deep ones up here. Again, Tried a couple deep in the end zone to Jamie Stoddard, 98 yards, 9 for 12. You know what, I agree with Danny McManus said at halftime, though I think he's got to be a little bit more aggressive.
Bombers have punted on their last 5 possessions. It's 2nd and 10. Jones, flush from the pocket. And tracked down by the speedy Ian Badejo. And limiting the gain to just a couple and forcing another punting situation.
Oh, Ian Badejo, talk about closing speed. Here's a guy 6'2". I mean, he covers field in a hurry. Nice job, little twist at the top. Tyrone Williams, Powell gonna run it. Opens up a seam, Kahari Jones gets out there, but number 6, the BC Lions, gets over there in a hurry, forced the punt.
Cameron. Willie Hurst, and he is cut down immediately, and that's the long snapper, Jason Congdon. Terrific downfield play after the 37-yard punt.
Oh, we talked earlier about Congdon, the long snapper. You got to head up to the football. You don't go anywhere. You snap the football, you go right where that ball is. That's a nice job of Congdon getting down there and not only being there, but making the play.
Let's check Damon Allen's chart in the first half.
Damon Allen's doing the same. He loves to go to the right. He's thrown a lot to the left, but he's got a little bit longer ball. Seen him trying to get to Thelwell a few times. He's got one outside to Jackson, a big one to Claremont, but I guess the big guy in the first half would be G-Roy Simon.
Out of the backfield, Sean Millington. Upended, close to a first down. Actually, the ball will be marked at the 53, I think a yard short.
Well, as the weather starts to turn a little bit colder, the sun goes down, I think that you can almost guarantee that this man, Sean Millington, will become more a part of this offense, either catching the football like that play or running it behind the big hogs up front.
2nd and a yard. Lyle Green, first down, and into Bomber territory. Lyle Green, the heir apparent to Sean Millington when the Diesel retires.
Well, only carried the ball 3 times in the 3 matches against Winnipeg, but as you say, a mini-me of Sean Millington, if you can use that term. Strong, powerful, quick to the point of attack. Does a nice job last week. Averaged over 6 yards a carry against Saskatchewan.
Play action, Allen, and the ball knocked down. There's Denny Fortney, an all-star defensive tackle.
Well, Denny Fortney's been battling the flu for 2 weeks. He's lost some weight. Right here, just basically he's just going to come down, reacts to it. He's not going to kick many field goals with that form either.
Former Miami Hurricane.
We saw him last week, Chris. Another defensive formation dropping into pass coverage.
Fortney and Brown in the middle are some combination. 2nd down. Allen nearly picked. Marvin Coleman, closest man to the football, as they help Allen from the carpet again.
You just talked about the Twin Towers inside. We just saw Denny Fortney. Now you see Doug Brown, 97, all 6'7". Just going to work right in there. Little arm bar protection. Gets underneath the offensive lineman, and then it's just a drive to the quarterback. David Allen gets time to set the feet and just overthrows his intended receiver.
Here's the kick. Nearly mishandled by Marcus Howell, but he holds on. And the Bombers will go on offense again when we return to Canada Stadium. Look who's back. Baron Simpson, who left the game early. Back in, just came out of the dressing room as that last punt was taking place and went right in to lead the defensive huddle.
Well, I think Adam Reed has said it best. He said it's do or die time, and I think my players would rather do than die.
And Harry Jones goes to work. Big Mike Sellers. Ian Badejo waiting for him. Couple for Sellers, but he's been relatively quiet.
Well, we've heard a lot of smack talk between Carl Kidd and Mike Sellers, but Ian Badejo, I tell you what, he does a nice job of meeting Mike Sellers right in a hole and then doing the best thing, grab the legs and lift. As soon as he gets those legs off the ground, the body's got nowhere to go but down.
I'd like to say hello to our American viewers on Fox Sports World and the Sunshine Network, and Brendan's brother, Obafemi, the former NFLer, watching in Kansas City as Brendan takes down Sellers, but not before the big man has a first down for Winnipeg.
Well, that's just one of those scenarios, and I love this play. I really do, to slide him out, get him the ball quickly, block, release, catch, and then lower the shoulder. You know you're going to get hit, but the momentum and the force, the leg drive, the power, you put it all in this package. He says, I'm a Mack truck when I get that football. And I tell you what, Ian Badejo, you hung on for dear life on that one.
63 catches during the regular season for the fullback Sellers. And now Roberts. Charles Roberts flagged down, in all likelihood negating a 17-yard carry.
There's a big scrum going on. Powell in the middle right there. Back with the old lineman. Now we're starting to heat up, people. You can feel it up here in the booth, even with the windows open. But I believe a flag was thrown as one of the receivers was trying to block downfield to get Charles Roberts more yardage.
That's that 1-2 punch, thunder and lightning. First it was Sellers at 275, and then the speedy scat back Roberts over 100 yards lighter. Not often you see that much discrepancy in the backfield, although I know you're not that impressed because there's probably over a 200-pound discrepancy in the broadcast crew.
Well, I do like the fact that Mike Sellers was joking because he's listed at 260. I believe he told you, he said, I haven't been 260 for a long time.
Winnipeg number 88, major foul, rough play, disqualification. BC number 56, first down.
Craig Powell is gone. Jamie Stoddard drew the holding call, but Powell, the Lions defensive end, is gone. And we'll take a look at what happened.
Well, he's down there at the bottom. That's Eric Wilson, number 67, who is on top, and he threw a punch at him. Eric Wilson, who has been labeled a somewhat dirty player by BC middle linebacker Baron Simpson, who says he goes too long after the whistle with the holding, the gouging, the pulling, and the punching.
So Brent Johnson, the Kingston native, will have to go the rest of the way. And
well, you can see the punch there, little right cross. And, you know, that's really a silly penalty in the fact that you're not going to hurt these guys. They got cages over the helmets on, cages protecting the face, shoulder pads.
Ball at midfield. And Roberts. Charles Roberts for the 44, the first down.
One of the things that Charles Roberts does that you just gotta love, and that is he stops on a dime. Breaks through, off tackle, cuts it up, stops, and then accelerates. Makes people miss. I mean, he stops his feet and just goes again. Now, here's some blocking downfield. Arlen Bruce getting in with Bo Lewis. Manny Martin, the safety, having to come over and wrap him up, but you can see a lot of the extracurricular activity starting to take place now. Brent Johnson, who's in the game for Craig Powell, who was ejected.
Johnson out of Ohio State, but a Kingston, Ontario product. Here's Roberts, pulled down at the 41 when it looked like he was going to get outside. Jamie Stoddard's lost a helmet, and he was eyeing Bo Lewis. And on the last Roberts carry, Eric Wilson was being chased by about 3 Lions. So,
well, you know, one of the things that you don't realize is, as an offensive lineman, if you can get under the skin of the defensive people, either the linemen or the linebackers, sometimes you can take them out of the game. They're so preoccupied with where you are and the retaliation factor that they forget their own responsibilities.
Eric Wilson, who started the year as a defensive lineman. 2nd down, 7. Jones with that little shovel pass, but he was forced to get rid of it quickly as Noah Cantor was bearing down.
Well, Cantor came in there, and one of the things when you run a shovel, yeah, you want to get some penetration by the D-line, but not that quickly. It's got to set up. You got to fake the pitch, little play action, try and get it out there, and he's really lucky he didn't put a whole lot on that, because had that ball be tossed a little higher, I believe Tyrone Williams, the defensive tackle of the Lions, may have came up with an interception.
So Troy Westwood comes on to attempt a field goal from 47 yards out. And Troy Westwood is good. 1 for 4 in last year's Grey Cup, looking for redemption this season. Was some speculation last year that Troy Westwood would be released by Winnipeg after his Grey Cup performance, but he has repaid Dave Ritchie's faith this season, and so far in this game.
Well, you gotta love it, because one of the things he says is the first step to redemption. You see the hair coming out there. Look at this. Take a look at this. You see that hair right there? Now, Troy Westwood is one of the most superstitious guys you'll ever run into. He has not cut his hair since that Grey Cup game.
And he told me you haven't missed a meal since that Grey Cup game.
Well, some things you can always count on.
Allen to Ryan Thelwell. And the slick wide out of London is belted out of bounds near the 50. 15 for Thelwell. So the Lions trail by 10 with 8:08 remaining in this third quarter.
Well, Thelwell checking the line of scrimmage, is pointing at David, making sure he's there. Gets over there, and you know what he does? He almost tries to initiate to Ricky Bell, or indicate that he's going to go deep. Ricky Bell turns back, gives him some space. Damon sees that, gets the ball quickly to him.
1st and 10. They're going to change the direction on Hurst. He got 4 when the initial hole had been closed, and now Lamar McGriggs and Jermazy Jones exchange shoves, so the tempers are starting to boil.
Well, and this is what it's about. I mean, you got to understand there is no tomorrow. During the regular season, you can always go back, look at the game film, reload, and play the next week. You know what? After this one of these teams is going to pack up and worry about preparing for their banquet, their season-ending banquet.
2nd and 6 from near midfield. Allen is picked off. Milo Lewis. Down to the 20.
And a flag thrown after the fact. They may be adding some more yardage on this one.
And the Bombers D is winning the turnover game today.
It's a nice job of just getting back in that zone. Milo Lewis sitting back there.
Well, the rookie comes up with his first ever playoff interception.
Well, just sits there. He's got the underneath protection. Not a very good throw by Damon Allen. I think he'd love to have that one back, Chris. And just didn't get a lot on it. He wanted to go over the head of Milo Lewis. Fell a little short. Number 26 comes up with a big interception, and after the penalty, they take over at the BC 10-yard line.
Says he loves the games because then he doesn't have to face Milt Stegall like he does in practice all week. Roughing was the penalty. Kahari Jones, end zone, touchdown, Jamie Stoddard. The Canadian kid who replaces Milt Stegall has a touchdown for the Bombers.
You talked about him earlier, the shoes he'd have to fill. Milt Stegall says, you know what, you watch this kid. This kid can get it done. He's a real gamer. Give him an opportunity. A lot of celebrations, a lot of congratulations on the sideline of the Bombers, but a nice job of one, allowing Kahari to get time to see him and Stoddard breaking away and coming up with a big touchdown catch.
There's Jamie Stoddard with Milt Stiegel. Jamie, U of Alberta graduate, hoping to go back to Edmonton next week.
Well, it all starts. You got the protection right here, and you got Charles Roberts who's going to stay, and all he's going to do is check to see if anything comes up the middle. A little bit of maximum protection. Sit in there, help out. Nice job. But I tell you what, Jamie Stoddard, boy, I tell you what, when you get away from that, you know it's the biggest game of your career. And you're working against a guy that was Defensive Player of the Week, Tony Walker, last week for the Lions. And you get some nice separation. Go up high, come up with the catch. Woo! You gotta be happy.
Carl Kidd. And Kidd stopped at the 20-yard line. And more flags are flying. 3 or 4 flags after that tackle, and now another.
Well, here's how it all started, Chris. You got Milo Lewis sitting back in that zone, picking off the interception. 45 yards. Sets up this. Kahari Jones to Jamie Stoddard in the back of the end zone. And after a relatively first...
Winnipeg number 30, major foul, unnecessary roughness, BC number 37, first down.
After a relatively flag-free first half, boy, we've seen the referees throwing the orange linen a lot in the second half. Tempers are starting to flare.
Mike Crum for BC and Brad Yamoka of the Bombers. And the ball at the 21. Jamie Stoddard, a Richmond, BC native who followed Jim Sandusky. Loved to watch Sandusky play and made a Sandusky-like catch for a touchdown that has the Lions in trouble. And Willie Hurst nailed by Denny Fortney. And it's all Bombers right now with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's always been the old cliche, but we're going to bring it out right now, people. Defense wins championships. And I'll tell you what, that last play by Milo Lewis, that big interception, allowed the offense to get down there to get the touchdown to Stoddard. I mean, that's big, but this guy, Denny Fortney, you can't say enough about that guy. Last year, not even a quarterback sack on his resume. This year, he leads the Bombers with 7.
2nd and 9. Allen to the wide side. Simon the catch, but short of a first down.
Well, I don't think you're going to be very successful if you're BC right now by keeping Damon Allen in the pocket. You got to get this guy to the outside, and you got to start throwing the ball deep. At least attack. For you to sit here and throw these little easy outs, you're not going to do nothing. You're keeping everything as a defender in front of you right now. You're making it easy for the Bomber defense.
That's what Alfred Jackson's been saying for a few weeks. He was told to play and not try to coach.
Well, you know, he said, I respect what you got to say, but don't say it to the media. Come and talk to me, and I think that's what you do. You keep that in-house.
Martino punts it away, and Arlen Bruce at his 49, flag down. Bruce breaks loose. Flags down as Arlen Bruce tries for another kick return. Touchdown. He's out at the 3, but again, a pair of markers are down. One is no yards. What's the other?
Well, that's right, Chris. As the offense is starting to walk on the field, and I think they know that usually when the first one comes, it's no yards, but the second one, 99% of the time, is for an illegal block or contact. Adam Rita there. One of the things he says, we got to shore up that special teams. We cannot allow a man with the speed of Arlen Bruce to get to the outside.
Long conference.
Beat them all. Beat all of them. He can beat them all.
You see Coach Richie saying beat them all, and I think in that group he's including the referees.
No yards. BC number 85. Illegal block. Winnipeg number 32. First down.
Let's take a look.
That's Michael Shaver they're calling on number 32. Just comes right in there. He's right there. Let's follow him and see what happens. There's Wade Miller doing a good job of just basically laying on top of Badejo. And of course he gets up. And look at the hustle. You gotta love this effort. You're not out of it. You never are going to be out if you get that kind of effort from your team.
So instead, they'll scrimmage from the 54 because of the Shaver infraction. Jones to work. And the pass behind Stoddard that time, incomplete.
Well, he had what he wanted. He had Stoddard do a little crossing route across the middle of the football field. Had some separation again from Tony Walker. Just threw the ball behind Stoddard. Play action, set up. There he is. He's wide open. Give him the football. Right play. Had the nice play. Was wide open. Just the ball thrown behind the receiver.
Second and 10 for the Bombers. Jones, great protection, throws a strike, and that's Marcus Howell.
Well, Marcus Howell with a second catch of the afternoon. Working against Brandon Gotze. Just doing the same thing he did on his earlier catch in the first quarter, coming back into the football field. He knows it's lonely way out in that corner, that wide receiver position, so he comes in where all the action is, where the slot backs are getting all the balls. He says, hey, if they can make catches, I'll come in there too.
So Howell, Stoddard, and Drover, the three Canucks. A big part of this Bomber offense, and now Charles Roberts drops the ball, and the Lions come up with it.
I don't know if he dropped the ball, Chris. I think, again, it was Carl Kidd, who came from the backside and stripped the ball.
So those Lions linebackers trying to do their part.
You can see 26 is right there, and he just strips that football out again. That's the second time that Carl Kidd's done that today. Both times resulting in a fumble. His partner in crime, Ian Badejo, number 6, coming up in recovery. That's just good hustle again. That's from the backside.
There you go, baby.
Carl Kidd making the play. Once again, giving another opportunity to the BC offense.
In 3 games against Winnipeg, BC had 39 points off turnovers. They need some here, and they have Ryan Thelwell up near the 50. But are we going to see David Allen stretch this Winnipeg defense?
Another flag is down. We have to see what this one's about. It's thrown in the backfield. And a lot of that times that's a holding call. Once again, the referees get together, discuss. Benefield indicating is against the Lions.
Winnipeg has allowed only 4 touchdowns in the last 5.5 games. 18 points in the last 3 games.
BC number 57, repeat first down.
Dan Payne charged with the hold, the right guard.
Well, he's working against Denny Fortney. He's right there, and he's just going to get the right hand on the face mask. Referee sees that, throws the flag.
First and 20. Back at the Lions, 29. Over the middle and behind Jason Claremont.
Now they're trying to get 20 of that back. Good coverage by Dave Donaldson. Right in the hip pocket. And Chris, aside from the one catch that Claremont had in the first quarter, has been relatively quiet. Haven't really looked his way much.
And unfortunately for Adam Rita, when he was open on that 3rd down gamble, Allen elected to pull it down himself. Second of the bunch. Allen hit as he threw, but Thelwell is able to reel it in.
That's a nice job of bringing the linebacker blitz. Brian Clark, 48, is going to come on the blitz. Does a nice job forcing Damon Allen to throw that ball a little before he wants to, but he gets it to where he wants to, and that's just Thelwell. But again, it's the situation right now. They're just running 10 yards and out, making the catches, and it's another scenario where the cornerbacks are just sitting back. Defenders, the Bomber secondary say, hey, We are playing this entire game in front of us. We're not having to turn our hips or do anything that might beat us deep.
3rd and 6. Martino, a couple of steps to his right, and now Bruce lets it hit the carpet. Surrounded and brought down at the 33. Bombers take over at their 35. Under 2 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Charles Roberts absolutely explodes out of that backfield.
I don't know if there's a vehicle around that accelerates from 1 to 100 that quick, but Charles Roberts just does that. He gets set. Mike Sellers again. Look at that block to the outside. I mean, he creates it. Your offensive linemen have to get a helmet on a helmet. Your fullback is responsible for either blocking the linebacker in or out. Mike Sellers, wonderful job knocking him out, creating a natural lane. And Charles Roberts just explodes through it.
Thunder and lightning, and Roberts has 80 yards on the ground, and he'll get a couple hard-fought yards there with Brent Johnson in for Craig Powell making the stop.
And remember, Winnipeg is undefeated when Charles Roberts runs for 100 or more yards in a football game.
Well, he set a tone on that first drive, and Dave Ritchie mentioned it, Danny McManus too, that they got away from it a little bit later in the first half.
Oh, I like it. I mean, you pound it up with the big man Sellers, and you get it to lightning, as you like to call him, Charles Roberts.
2nd and 8. Dump it off. Here's Thunder. And Mike Sellers carries the pile close to a first down and makes Dave Ritchie have to decide whether a 3rd down gamble is worth it.
I love a guy like this. They're going to keep coming to this play. Slide him out, give it to him. Nice job of trying to head jack to get the defender off, and he carries 3 guys. But what he does is the emotional lift he gives his team. His teammates love this guy. I mean, there's nothing like when you get a guy like this. It's like bringing your 16-year-old brother to play football with the 10-year-olds down the block. I mean, he's a star. He's much bigger, and that's what's happening right now. I mean, Adam Rita said it yesterday. He said, Mike Sellers, hell, he's bigger than everybody on our defense.
It's funny you mentioned that, because he said, I was so big as a kid because of weight in the Pop Warner. He always had to play against kids 2 or 3 years older than him. Dave Ritchie decides that it's not worth the gamble with a 17-point lead. So Bob Cameron punts it away, and it's a nice kick to G. Roy Simon. Gets a block, and now a flag. And that was a late flag.
You know what, Chris? I am hoping that wasn't on Eric Carter, because that was a good block. He was right to the side of the guy, and then the referee right at the point of attack didn't throw the flag. The backside guy threw one late, and that can't be.
It's a bad call if that's a clip, and it's a 47-yard Bob Cameron
block.
punt.
BC number 2, first down.
You know what, from our vantage point up here, we looked at it, it looked like Eric Carter had the perfect position, right to the side. He walled him off. He's right there, and you can see he gets to the side. Now he goes down and knocks the guy down, but that's not the penalty. You don't get a penalty for knocking somebody down. You get bonus points in special team meetings. And you know what? That's one of the things that infuriates me when you get a guy at the point of attack. The referee's right there. The one who's got the best sight line, he doesn't throw the flag, but the guy from the behind, 20 yards down the field, late, throws the flag.
And it backs the Lions up to their 3 as Andre Arlene gets attention. Andre Arlene, St. Francis Xavier product, won a Grey Cup with the Stampeders in '98. Looking for his 4th Cup appearance in 5 years. It looks like he'll be okay.
Well, that penalty is backed up BC to their own 3-yard line.
This should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Might be a time to call Alfred Jackson's number. It's the other wideout, Ryan Thelwell, and And some breathing room for the Lions, and a late flag as Thelwell was escorted out. It has been a slugfest dominated by the defenses and controlled by the Bombers.
Well, penalties are become a factor right now.
Rylan Wickman was charged with a roughing penalty at the tail end of this play.
Well, they got him backed up on the 3-yard line. He throws a nice out Thelwell, and then you can see 55. Wickman just comes in there. He's out of bounds already. Unnecessary roughness, tack 15 more on, and now they're at the 33-yard line.
Yes, they started at the 3, but the Lions need to get something done on this drive to cut into this Blue Bomber lead. Flag down, that play never got off, and I think somebody on the Lions offensive line moved early.
I think you're right on, Chris. I think that's a procedure call.
Procedure, BC number 60, still first down.
Jamie Terrace. Here are the three-quarter numbers.
Well, we take a look. The net yards have really evened out. 235, 247. Turnovers, 2 apiece. Time of possession slightly favoring the BC Lions, but boy, the scoreboard doesn't reflect that. With the Bombers winning or leading right now, 20-3.
First and 15. Allen nailed. Tom Europe. Safety blitz.
Tell you, one of the things you have to do if you're an offense is you have to all be on the same page. And what I mean by that is if you see that, you see the safety sneaking up. Even if they switch positions, they put somebody back there, then it becomes a halfback blitz. You got to recognize that. When you see it, you got to make a call. That means the quarterback sees it, your receiver's on the same page, you adjust the route, you get rid of the ball. If there's no communication, he's got no chance. It's right there. Bam. Tom Europe's right in your face before he has any chance to even see if there's a receiver open.
There's the leader of the Bombers defense, Les Brown. It's 2nd and 20. Allen downfield, picked off. Clark pitching it to Coleman. Ryan Clark, the interception. Marvin Coleman down to the 16.
This linebacking crew, Chris, feels that they haven't been getting the respect due. Last year they felt that they were snubbed and all the Hamilton Ticat linebackers were the All-Stars. This year it's the BC Lions who are the All-Stars. I said, you know what? We're not going to worry about that. We're going to do our talking on the football field. We're going to show by our actions. The nicest thing about that, though, you see the depth of the drop of the linebacker, Brian Clark. He's 20 yards downfield.
We need a recap.
Second interception for Clark this year. And the Bombers take over at the 18. Jones looking into the end zone. Incomplete. He wanted Stoddard again.
Well, Stoddard looking against Tony Walker, and he likes that combination. That's what a quarterback does. A quarterback gets comfortable with a certain receiver. We talked a lot about Kahari Jones being comfortable with Milt Stegall. Well, today, he's liking to look to Jamie Stoddard. First quarter, we saw him trying to hit that same play to Jamie Stoddard.
So it's 2nd and 10 from the BC 18-yard line. Sellers the lone setback. Flag down. Sellers drops the ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, had that play be successful, I tell you right now, Mo Elwanibi would have got a holding penalty because he tried to swallow up Ian Badejo as he's out there trying to get a block on him to spring Sellers. Going to call offside the Bomber offense. You can see Ian Badejo having a little chat with the referee there saying, hey, watch 64 because pretty much had me for dinner.
Offside. Winnipeg number 1. Decline. 3rd down.
Charles Roberts was a little over anxious. Penalty declined, and Troy Westwood will come on.
That's one of the plays they've used successfully all day, and that's basically either leak Charles Roberts out or Mike Sellers. Get on the ball, get him an open field, and see what he can do with it.
So Troy sizing up a 25-yard attempt. On the money again. And it's a 20-point Winnipeg lead. 12 and a half minutes left on the clock. Well, these Bomber fans sense it here. Unfinished business has been the motto in Winnipeg, and here's how the scoring's gone. 10 points in the first quarter, 10 more in the third, and now the Westwood field goal to make it 23-3. Allen slings it, now for Jackson. Can't hold on. Let's have a word about this defense, Chris, because the last 2 games, they shut out their opponents for the first 3 quarters. And today, just 3 points for Damon Allen and the Lions.
I can see what's happened right now. If it's Damon Allen, if it's Sean Millington, and of course a couple key interceptions. Milo Lewis, the sacks, Tom Europe with the latest one. Harold Nash had one earlier. They're all over playing inspired football.
2nd and 10. Allen gunning it. G-Roy Simon can't squeeze it. Alfred Jackson very close. Couple of Lions receivers in the same area.
Well, G-Roy Simon just trying to take it to the center of the football field. Little move, nice move, getting away from the coverage. Milo Lewis, little separation. I don't like the fact of where they're ending up right there. That to me is a lack of concentration. You can't have a receiver. Look at the 2 receivers there. That's 7, that's 81. You can't have that. You know what, there's no excuse for that at this time of the season.
Martino to punt it away. Bruce the third.
Hold.
Up to the 48. 35-yard punt. And a 20-point Winnipeg advantage. 22,508 enjoying proceedings here as we check Chris Walby's Canadian Tire game notes.
Well, we talked about for BC getting the wide house involved early. Only 4 catches, and the 43 yards is the big key. You got to go deep, get them going. Defense stuff to run, force the pass. 15 rushes, 97 yards, almost cracking 100.
Bombers with the football at their own 49. Sellers across midfield and close to a first down, and he's done most of his damage lately in the 4th quarter.
Well, nice job, and take a look at Winnipeg's the keys. Thunder and Lightning, Sellers, and Roberts, 143 combined yards. Just saw a great run by Sellers right there. Defense, you got to keep Damon Allen in the pocket. He's got 6 carries for -6 yards. Hey, they're doing their job.
They've not only kept him in the pocket, they've punished him in the pocket. 2nd and less than a yard. And Roberts. Look at that acceleration again! Outside! Inside the 10, Charles Roberts over 100 yards for the game. And remember, they're unbeaten when he's done that this year.
Well, I tell you what, the biggest thing about this play, Charles Roberts, what exceptional quickness. But you got to remember, the guy in the middle, look who's in the middle. That's who's playing middle linebacker right now. That's Ian Badejo. Simpson's out. As a result, look at this acceleration. They said one of the keys to beating the BC defense is their over-aggressiveness. They'll run by you, and I can make them miss. Roberts just did that, took it a long way.
43 yards to be exact. 125 on the game. And now the Bombers move in for the kill. First and goal from the 7. Charles Roberts, touchdown! The Grey Cup finalists a year ago are booking their trip to Edmonton.
Well, we haven't talked about this a lot right now, but Milt Stegall is very confident that everybody else in this offense would get the job done. He said, we've got a lot of stars in this team. And he rattled off Bruce's name. He talked about Tahari Jones. But this man right now, Charles Roberts, what a day. And I tell you what a tandem him and Mike Sellers have been today. We talked about the bad weather. It's been beautiful today, but I tell you what, you never know what's going to happen in that West Final next week. We're not saying that they're going to get there. Still 10 minutes to go in this football game. We all know in the Canadian Football League, anything can happen. But right now, Winnipeg's enjoying a beautiful lead. Nice job of Wilson just getting out there, pulling him around, getting to the outside. Charles Roberts loses a football, but deemed that he had already crossed the line.
Double D!
3 plays, 61 yards.
Hello to all my family, all my friends.
Now here's how it all gets going. It's basically the Charles Roberts show. He gets to the outside, makes people miss and accelerates, puts it in his 15th gear. Gets the outside, Eric Carter finally pushes him out, and then he caps it off again. Cut back, change of direction. Right there. And then a celebration with Howell and Bruce.
Led the league in all-purpose yards. He was second to John Avery, who we'll see next week in Edmonton.
Baby. All time! Green and gold, baby!
And sending a message to the awaiting Eskimos.
Well, we also know, Chris, that the head coach, Tom Higgins of the Eskimos, is here watching the football game, and he's definitely got a full notepad full of notes.
Manny Machocha, the offensive coordinator of the Eskimos, here too. Willie Hurst with the return, 9:45 on the clock, and there are the Eskimos brass.
Tom Higgins hiding right here, and there's the offensive coordinator, Manny Machocha, enjoying a little free popcorn, courtesy of the Winnipeg Enterprise.
20 unanswered Blue Bomber points. Bellwell can't hold it.
You know, I'm telling you what, when I'm seeing these drop balls now, what I'm saying, I'm seeing a little quit. I don't want to say it's happening, but I'm seeing a little quit right now. Balls that normally were being caught earlier in the football game, as we see Thelwall's down. I'm not saying the effort wasn't there, but balls that he was catching before, he's not catching now. We saw Alfred Jackson drop a couple. Just going to run and then come back to the football. Ball's thrown low, he goes down, tries to catch it. He's got that football, hits him right in the stomach. He's got to come up with that. Right in the breadbasket. But this is usually a sign that you're starting to think about tomorrow. That you're starting to almost concede the victory to your opposition. Mental lapses like that.
Damon Allen in the second half is 5 of 13, a pair of interceptions, and only 58 yards.
We saw a couple drops. We just saw that one by Fellow. We saw one earlier by Alfred Jackson. He tried to turn before he got the ball.
We asked Dave Ritchie yesterday about the mood of his football team, and he said they're just plain angry, in a foul mood, as they got ready for this game, and this defense has played nasty.
Well, you know what? There was a lot of talk. They felt without Milt Stegall in the lineup, the man who has 23 touchdowns, that they really had no chance.
Flag thrown on that incompletion intended for Claremont, and I think Dave Donaldson's pleading his case, but they're going to call it pass interference.
That's a big play.
Forward pass interference. Winnipeg number 2. First down.
Well, Dave Donaldson indeed with the pass interference call. breathes a little life into the BC offense. Gets them on the Bomber side of the football field.
So a first down at the Winnipeg 52. Allen over the middle, and Millington nailed by Brian Clark.
Well, once again, it's just the BC offense is seeing, you see the faces are not happy right there, but the BC offense is just taking little pieces, and you know, the Bomber defense is happy to give this all day. It's completion, but it's for only 4 yards. And you know, I think time is becoming an enemy of the BC Lions. They've got to start striking and quickly.
2nd and 6. Allen and Alfred Jackson pulled down by Marvin Coleman right about the line of scrimmage. And Marvin says it's not happening over here.
That's a nice job, and all they're trying to do is get the ball. Alfred Jackson, they call him out. Action Jackson. Now he's going to try and turn, make something happen after he catches the football, but Marvin Coleman closes it, wraps him up, takes him down.
You know, Chris, 9 of the 12 starters on defense were in the Grey Cup game last year. A 10th would have been Ryland Whitman, but he missed the playoffs with a knee injury. Ricky Bell was in the Grey Cup last year for Calgary, so this is a seasoned Blue Bomber defense. And now it's 3rd and 5 to stay alive. Allen to Thelwell, flag down. Pass interference on Ricky Bell.
Well, we talked about, this is one of our game modes. We said you got to attack the quarterback. That's not to say they're not good quarterbacks, but you knew that Marvin Coleman hadn't practiced all week with a bad back, and you know that
Pass
Ricky Bell is very aggressive.
Winnipeg number 20.
I mean, when you look up the book and you see what the player's about, that's what it's about, number 20. Very aggressive, in your face. You can see right there, he's all over Thelwell. Doesn't allow Thelwell to even try to come up with the ball, and the flag's going to be thrown every time on a play like that.
So the second pass interference call to prolong this drive for BC. 7:15 left. Thelwell. And Ricky Bell brings him down at the 15-yard line.
That's a nice job again, just sitting back there, going back to Thelwell, who is his favorite target this afternoon. Picks up 9 yards, putting him in a second and short situation.
Allen with an audible at the line. Millington should have the first down, but it was hard fought.
Well, that's one of the things, I mean, they make you earn every yard. Here's the Bomber defense, obviously. Look at this. Fewest yards average rushing, 79.9. Let's round that out, 80. 4.5 lowest average per game, lowest average game per pass. I mean, they got all facets of the game covered.
And you know, Chris, we're into this part of the cycle with the Canadian Football League where the defense is dominating the offense. You think of the 4 teams today, their defense is all probably better than their offenses. Here's Allen looking to the end zone. Incomplete as he tried for the rookie, Jason Claremont.
Well, Jason Claremont did an excellent job of trying to adjust the football as it was in the air, to try and turn his body to come up with a remarkable catch, to try and breathe some life into this Lions football team. Unfortunately, ball thrown a little far. Can't come up with what would have been a spectacular Tony Champion type catch.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, 1989 Grey Cup game. 2nd and 10, Allen almost picked off by Harold Nash.
Defenses that win football games study game film. They realize what's going on. They recognize formations and they're able to break on them. Harold Nash does a great job of seeing Willie Hurst sneaking out and breaks on this football and is one step away from coming up with a big interception.
Adam Rita's team had won 9 of its last 12 coming into this game.
Well, you mentioned earlier that BC started their turnaround or their comeback this year by beating Winnipeg 29-21 earlier this year. And then what was happening? Winnipeg started their comeback on their undefeated streak by beating BC 44-28. So both teams have used each other as springboards for the success.
Gary Jones mentioned that he learned in a loss against the Lions that they had to be a better balanced team. He threw 55 passes in a game and lost against BC. They haven't lost since. 3rd and 10. Fans to their feet. Allen to the end zone. And it's incomplete. And once again, the Bombers defense turns it over on downs. They're celebrating in Winnipeg and getting ready for a trip to Edmonton.
Best D, baby, best D.
Carl Kidd, why are you going to talk about our defense? We got the best defense in the CFL. Carl, couldn't play out there if we only keep left, bro. Carl, take your words home, baby. Take them home. Can't play for us,
26,
man.
call
Need that help pack
Call
it, Carl
baby.
Carl Kidd getting some heat. And Chris, you know why? Yesterday,
it's nice seeing you. Thanks for coming. Now go home.
Yesterday, Dave Ritchie played some comments from Carl Kidd in the Bombers meeting to rev up a defense that's going to get the last word today. Charles Roberts is adding to his numbers.
Well, it's interesting to talk about that, though, because of the fact that you never want to give any fuel, because you know the teams around the league, if you hear something, they're going to take the clippings from the newspaper and they're going to pin them up in their locker room. You say something, Dave Ritchie has made a videotape of all the comments made by the BC Lions, and as you say yesterday, players were watching it. They were fueling this anger.
Curiously, it was Carl Kidd who made that last tackle, and the one thing the Bombers did want to hear from Carl Kidd, Kidd said the winner of this game would win the Grey Cup. That they may not argue with. 1st and 10. Roberts again, look at that, skip, and the high hurdler drops the ball up near midfield. And flags fly, who's on it?
Well, they're going to call Aubrey. Arland Bruce are going to call for knocking a player, interference, not allowing the Lion defender to try and come over that football.
There's also another marker back near the line of scrimmage. Charles Roberts just went over 100 yards in the second half alone with that carry before he fumbled the football.
Well, there's 2 flags, one behind the line of scrimmage, and one we know for sure when Arlen Bruce got an interference penalty.
Holding, Winnipeg number 64. That penalty is declined. Loose ball interference, Winnipeg number 4, first down.
Well, we saw the interference by Arlen Bruce.
Mo Eloanibi with the other infraction, and the Lions will get the football on the fumble recovery. So 3:55 remaining.
Well, right there, Arlen Bruce just going to basically push Manny Martin, 23, the safety of the Lions, away from having any attempt to come over that football.
Looked like Ian Badejo finally got it for the BC Lions. There's Carl Kidd. One of the most colorful characters in the Canadian Football League.
Well, you know, the media guys love him because he's always a quote. He's always got something to say.
Well, he should have been the outstanding player nominee.
I'll tell you what, they do have a good defense, but I'll tell you what, you got to give some credit to the Bomber offensive line. And I know, you know, you don't like when I give the big boys some credit, but I'll tell you what, Baron Simpson, 1 tackle, had to lead the football game, not really a factor at all today.
There's an incompletion, Chris. There's no question that the Blue Bombers turned this around when they finally got their offensive line intact. And maybe the missing piece was Garrick Jones.
Well, I think Garrick Jones is a missing piece at the left tackle. Obviously, that's the blind side of the quarterback. You got to protect the back side of the quarterback. But I tell you what, the guy they really like is that Eric Wilson. You got to have somebody in there that's got that pit bull mentality that's going to go after people and you know, get people all angered up.
2nd and 10. dumps it off. Sean Millington. And a first down for the Lions inside the 40.
Well, Sean Millington coming up with that catch, and you wonder about Sean Millington. Has announced that this will be his last year.
Last game for Millington, last game for Jamie Terrace. Two great Canadian CFL players with distinguished careers. The only Canadian with more touchdowns in the CFL than Sean Millington, the great Normie Kwong. And there's Jamie Terrace. Not the way he hoped it would end. Willie Hurst. Nice hands there and a catch down to the 25. And a 3-minute warning will be given to the benches. All Winnipeg here in the Western Semi at Kennedy Stadium.
Well, the road to the Grey Cup continues next week. We'll be in our coverage with the East Finals. The Argos in Montreal to play the Alouettes. Then it's off to Edmonton for the West Final. The Eskimos will be watching this game today because they'll play the winner next Sunday. Right now, looks like it's going to be Winnipeg. That all begins at 12:30 Eastern.
There's Darren Allen over the middle and Claremont with a catch. Dave Donaldson hanging on inside the 10. What a year Jason Claremont has had. The Usher Collegiate product out of Regina. And a Rookie of the Year finalist against Keith Stokes.
Well, they keep trying to come back to that. And why do they do that? You see Dave Donaldson is sneaking over to play safety. They're actually just changing numbers. Tom Europe is lining up and coming on the halfback blitz.
First and goal for the 8. Millington pushed out at the 5.
Got it.
Sean wasn't able to hold up there. Took a tumble. You know, we think he could play a couple more years, but talking to him again today, he said, I just feel like it's time to change course in my life.
I always think it's a little strange, though, when a guy says, and I know why he did it, and that's the kind of class that Sean Millington has. He says, you know what, there's two of us that have announced their retirement. Rather than have a joint or split the ceremony, the last home game in Vancouver, I'm going to let Jamie Terrace have his day. He's been here 16 years. Let him be the man. I'll have a ceremony the first game next year. But I still think with that thought, there's a chance you still may see number 25 Summer, perhaps even Ottawa.
How about Lamar McGregor? Ottawa. Eric Tillman's ears just perked up.
Want to keep those guys awake in that heated shack down there.
How about Lamar McGregor's bringing it? And it's been a long afternoon for Damon Allen.
Well, you got to like Lamar McGregor. I really like the way he plays this game of football. You know, conversely, when you talk to a guy like Ian Badejo, who was upset, who was with Winnipeg, people forget that he was with the Bombers and he was let go, and they signed McGregor ahead of Ian Badejo, and he came out, matter of fact, and said that he was slapping the face.
Third and goal, and Allen will carry and not get there. Stopped at the 2. Wayne Weathers made sure the door was shut.
Let's go.
Now, you talked about the missing pieces of the puzzle on the offensive line. Well, I think Wayne Weathers is the missing piece on the defensive line. He is an incredible athlete. Great wrestling background, great balance. Comes over there, makes the play, gets some help from Brian Clark. But boy, I tell you what, number 99, great game last week. Boy, a force. He's a rising star in this league right now.
Bronze medalist at the Pan Am Games in wrestling, looking for silver in the Grey Cup.
Silver in the form of a cup.
In 2002, 2:18 remaining. To Harry Jones from his own 2. That means Sellers right side. Ian Badejo drags him down at the 10.
Well, this is where it starts to be fun for the Bombers right now. Let's just hand the ball off. Let's pound it at him. Let's give the big man, if you take a look at Wayne Weathers.
Good job, baby.
And fun for you because we're going to talk about that Winnipeg offensive line.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to really like it. They went through so many people trying to find that winning combination. Training camp, they had defection, guys leaving. They got injuries. McNeil got hurt. Mike Sutherland, who's part of this team, got hurt. They've had to use so many people to find that missing formula.
2nd and 2, and look at Sellers drive over Ian Badejo for a first down, but a flag is thrown.
But I think the biggest thing, and I think the thing that offensive coordinator Paula Police saw is this is a weapon. They talked about him in training camp. They never really gave him the football early part of the year. And it was only in the later stages of this football year that number 33, they realized, hey, this guy is a force. Let's give him the football.
BC number 26. First down.
Carl Kidd with the face mask. Kind of hard to tell from that replay. Not very happy with the call.
Here's Paula Police.
Right there.
Veteran Gene Geens on the other side of the football for Winnipeg, and they've done a great job.
Really happy. He says every week he goes to work now and tries to come up with new schemes to get the ball in the hands of either number 1 or number 33.
It's 33's ball right now. Mike Sellers into the open field and across the center stripe. Oh, and he is loving it.
You know what? If this man was a horse, he'd be a Clydesdale. By the time he just does it all, he gets out there, and it's the stiff arm, the strength. I talked earlier about what a guy like this does for your team, the excitement he generates. It's a cutback. It's a 275-pound man cutting back, and the stiff arm of Manny Martin in the helmet. And then it just becomes a drag. Godsey says, oh my God, it's me that has to make this play now.
So 9 yards each time he carries the ball. There he is again. And Badejo again meeting him. Tough to bring him down when you get him up high.
Well, I will say this. If there is one guy that has done a pretty good job of tackling Mike Sellers, it is Ian Badejo, and he does a nice job. He knows it's all about form tackling. You're not going to take a shoulder on 33. Get between them and then grab the legs.
Lightning has 157 yards. Thunder was 66. That's 223 yards rushing for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers backfield.
And we talked about this. We said next week you're going to Edmonton for the West Final. It's cold there too. You got to have a running game. We know Winnipeg has one.
And we know the Eskimos have one with the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League. Sellers again. He's getting outside, and another first down. Well, it's been a trend in recent weeks. Mike Sellers does most of his damage in the fourth quarter and late.
You know what? You said something that kind of piqued my interest, if I may, Chris. You talked about that Edmonton has a running game. I'm wondering, because I think John Avery is as exciting a running back as you'll ever see. I wonder if they, as you see, Kahari Jones is leaving the football field. They're just going to basically go down and kill the clock. Have they corrected the problem with John Avery putting the ball on the turf? He was saying that, you know what, I've worked with different quarterbacks. I haven't had a rhythm with one guy. Then I had to split duties with Ronald Williams. That affected my ball attempts of carrying. Be interesting to see next week when we get 3 great running backs on one football field.
Well, there is how they matched up through the year. We saw Winnipeg beat Edmonton 20-8 last week. We thought it was a thorough win. Alfred Payton and the Eskimos disagreed.
Well, they said that, of course. What do you expect them to say? They know that they're going to have the bye week. They're at home watching this game right now. And I guarantee it, they're going to have to be fired up to take on this team, because right now, the Bombers are firing on all cylinders.
Everybody on their feet here at Canada Stadium. This is the last time they'll see their club at home this year.
And let's get ready for the Milt Stegall watch again, because there's an opportunity that number 85 said, if we get through this game, and I'm sure we will, that I may be able to come back next week.
Kahari Jones came out before Pat Barnes put his knee down the last play, and he got a thunderous ovation. And now 7 ticks left. There's Milt. Will he be back? Is it a hip?
What's going on?
Or is it ribs?
There's some kicking going on. Look at this.
Carl
Kidd with 3 boots to the head. 4 boots. You can't have that. You got to get that out.
There are suspensions about to happen, and you got to be worried about Bombers who might be affected before the game next week. Apparently there's a fan involved, and that was the target.
Well, fan or player, Chris, there's no room for that. We don't condone fans rushing on the field until the game is over. Celebrate after with the team.
But in fairness to the players, when fans are jumping out of the stands, they got to protect themselves.
Well, after we see what happened in baseball, the two fans going out there beating on that third base coach.
But those aren't fans. That's Jamie Stoddard involved with some of the Lions, and this thing's got right out of hand. There's a former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Brett McNeil, on the field, and this thing is just completely unraveled.
Well, with 7 ticks left on the clock, you almost wonder if they might just blow it.
Let it run out, guys.
Let it run out. There's no sense. I don't know if you're going to restore order here. A lot of people on the football field. A little bit of chaos going on there still.
Mo, off the field, Mo. Move.
See Coach Ritchie trying to get his players over. It's not all bad. We see Kahari Jones and Damon Allen embracing each other.
Jones ran off the field with 30 seconds to go, and he was embraced first by Eric Carter of the Lions, and this looked like it was going to have the right sort of finish. And now they have allowed the clock to run out, and this game has been declared over.
True champions right there.
Well, the understudy beats his mentor today as Kahari Jones and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers prevail. Well, let's find out what happened.
Right here, you see there he comes on the football field. He's pointing. Oh, and he goes right after a player. You can't have that. That's indicative of just what we talked about in baseball. You cannot do that. You know what? You got to put that. He's got to do something. I'm sorry. You got to sit him in a lockup somewhere. Let him think about it.
Let's join Brenda Irving.
Well, thanks, Chris. Charles Roberts, your team is undefeated when you run 100 or more yards in a game. You made it look easy again today.
Well, you know, we was on a mission tonight. They made some statements early in the week that we couldn't run the ball against them, that they had some quality linebackers over there. Fortunately enough to be named to the All-Star team this year. We felt we had some great linebackers on our side of the ball, and we wanted to come out and prove a point tonight that they were the second best linebacker corps in the league this year.
Well, as you know very well all week in Winnipeg, the talk has been about Miltsteagle and how the Winnipeg offense survived without him. A lot of guys stepped up to the plate today.
Well, you know, that's what we had to do. Just because Milt wasn't playing didn't mean we didn't still have championship dreams, and you know, we needed to come out here and make our dreams come true, and that was win a game without Milt tonight. We'll have next week.
Are you a little bit surprised at the way the Winnipeg defense, or rather the Lions defense, played today?
No, we got a great quality defense all together, man. Front seven, you know, secondary. It's just a great defense, and they came out to play tonight. All we had to do really was put up those 3 points to start the game and rely on our defense to pull it out for us.
Good luck next weekend.
Thank you. Hi, Mama. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Kayani, Kiara. I love you.
Arlen Bruce had a heck of a game. Can you take us through that 112-yard touchdown?
Oh, I didn't even know it was that long. It was just a play. Coach said, you know, I don't think he can get the field goal, and if he missed, bring it out. And I had a heck of a wall set up, and I just did what I could do to get to the end zone. Big-time players make big-time plays.
Look ahead to Edmonton next week. Is it going to be the same club that we saw here last Saturday?
No, Edmonton going to come in. We're going to go to their house. They're going to be fired up. You know, it's going to be sold out. It's going to be chilly or whatever, but, you know, the best team wins next week.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Well, here in Winnipeg, a huge win for the Bombers as they take the Western semifinal over the Lions.